This is the worst thing I've ever read on any of these articles, and I've read all of them, okay? Deepest recesses of the mind don't process the word no. Therefore, when we say, I will not waste time on the computer today, the words are read as I will waste time on the computer today. All right, so in this video, I'm going to be reviewing one of the top results in Google for ADHD productivity. This is a huge problem for people who are newly diagnosed with ADHD because they Google stuff like this. And I will show you why what Google is offering as some of the top results is just bad advice. It's not useful. Let's just jump right into it. This is something I Googled when I was first diagnosed with ADHD. And I have to tell you that the results are pretty much the same. I can't remember if this was the top ranking back then, but it hasn't changed much. So the first thing you'll notice is this snippet here, which to me seems like it's a very legitimate website, right? PsychCentral.com. It almost seems like a scientific journal. And they have this snippet at the top of Google. It must be legit. And if you click into it, you'll see a ton of advertisements, which I've blocked with my ad blocker. And you'll see that there's some text here about this article was medically reviewed by their scientific advisory board. And if you click through that, there is a bunch of scientists who theoretically reviewed this. And it was even written by this person who has a master's degree on May 17th of 2016. So not too old of an article, but also not brand new either. So it could have good strategies. Let's jump into it. They have 12 pieces of advice, and they're all pretty much on the same spectrum of being either useless or just wrong or written by someone who clearly doesn't have or understand ADHD. You'll notice here that they're quoting certain people. We don't know if this person just did a simple interview that was spliced together and heavily edited or what was going on. So the only person I'm talking shit about is Psych Central because they're hosting the article. So the first thing you'll see is to employ the 2-minute rule. They go down and say that, hey, we procrastinate a lot and that leads to all-nighters, that leads to missed deadlines. And if you enter a phone number into a database right away, that can save you lots of time looking for it later. That's it. They're saying if you have a phone number and you enter it into your database, which I assume means your phone contact list, then you'll avoid all-nighters. I guess what they're trying to say is if you just do things within 2 minutes of having knowledge of them, that's better because then you waste less time later. I think that's what this is trying to say. The fact that we're trying to figure out what this is saying and there's supposedly all these scientists reviewing this article makes it a bad article. And I suppose entering a phone number into a database is better than writing it on a scrap piece of paper, but is that supposed to help me do something? Another thing too is if you're working at your job, you're in school and you get a task and you start working on that thing right away because, hey, look, Psych Central said to do the 2-minute rule. Well, that's actually not good because you're not prioritizing, you're not figuring out what the best things to do are. I used to do this at work where I would immediately run around and do whatever the newest task was and forget about my tasks that were unfinished. Not a good start to the list here, Psych Central. Pick a planner that works for you. Anytime I see planner, I know the person who wrote this does not have ADHD, or they don't understand, or they were misquoted. I don't know. So at the very end of this blurb, this person has a guide on how to select the best planner for you. They also admit that planning is hard for people with ADHD. They say planning and maintaining a calendar can feel constricting and uninteresting. So what they're trying to say, I think, is that people with ADHD are disorganized and we have troubles with planners, which is true, and if that's what they're saying. And that it's important to figure out some custom system that each person needs to figure out for themselves that works. Okay, yeah, if that's what you're saying, I guess that's a good point. But a lot of what this is saying is just obviously written by someone who doesn't have ADHD. I don't feel constricted or uninterested by a planner. I like planners. I like being organized. I just have a hard time remembering to be organized. I have planners in every single drawer behind me and under my desk. I have countless text files and apps that I've tried to use for note-taking. I've tried Roam Research, I've tried Notion, I've tried Word, I've tried everything. It's not that I find them constricting or uninteresting, it's just forgot about them. So I started a new one, and hopefully I'll remember this one this time. Anytime I see this planner type advice, I just know that this person just doesn't understand what they're talking about. This is one of the stupidest ones on the list. They say that we should carve out 10 to 15 minutes every single day to plan stuff because planning maximizes focus and productivity. So there's 3 things brutally wrong with this advice. Number 1, the reason people with ADHD can't focus is because they don't have enough dopamine in their brains going to the right places at the right times. That's why we take stimulant medication, because it increases dopamine, okay? The second thing is having a plan and that being good for productivity is like saying if you're thirsty, you should drink water. Like anyone who's ever done anything knows that that's true. The third thing is she's recommending 10 to 15 minutes per day for planning. So you want me, someone who has ADHD, I have trouble making routines, I have trouble sticking to habits, I have trouble remembering which planner I was trying to use, I have trouble keeping my calendar organized. You want me now to schedule 10 to 15 minutes a day to plan every day? Is this an unironic blog post? This is not going to work for a single person who reads this article. The fourth thing they say to do is to use a timer or alarm. And if someone is procrastinating, setting a timer and working on that task for a set amount of time can help them make progress. How is a timer going to get me over the dopamine obstacle that is going on in my brain? If you're saying you have a time limit that's externally imposed, like an exam, then yeah, I guess that's a good way to get motivated, because external stress is extremely motivating for people with ADHD. But what, you're gonna turn my phone timer on and that's gonna help me do things? This person does not understand ADHD. They don't have it. They've never had it. I don't know if this is a coach. If you're a coach, if this is a coach that's saying this, they shouldn't be a coach. This is advice I've seen on every single article I've ever read about ADHD, is to start small. So there's 2 things stupid about this advice. So what they're saying is take small steps, baby steps. Try to incorporate planning into your routine. Yes, my routine that every ADHDer has. Each day spend 10 minutes planning for 3 weeks. Like, okay, so there's, I guess, evidently 3 things wrong with this. So first of all, starting small is advice that anyone ever can follow. This is not about ADHD. Number 2, to ask me to spend 10 minutes planning every day for 3 weeks is not possible. I'm insulted that someone wrote this article, to be honest with you. After you cement this habit, add more time to your planning routine. Like, this is clearly written by someone who doesn't have ADHD. Organize smarter. They're telling people who have trouble staying organized to be more organized. Do I need to say more? Be super selective when decluttering. Oh yeah, here's a banger. They say ADDer. ADD is a term that was retired in 2013. It's just called ADHD now. And they claim that this was reviewed by a scientific board, but clearly it wasn't, because if it was, then this wouldn't be here. So I don't know what's going on here, Psych Central. Not that I really thought that this was a legit article before that, but again, I think this is just restating the same thing it said before, which is just be organized. Like, okay. Number 8, avoid multitasking. Wow, thanks, Psych Central. This is like saying, hey, you're distracted. Stop being distracted. Dumb article. Understand the scope of the project. Perfectionism is a productivity zapper. Knowing the project requirements helps you gauge how much effort to put in. This is just every person who's ever had a job before knows this. Under promise and over deliver. Another thing that anyone who's ever had any type of job or done any job ever, anything in their life ever knows. Hey, if you're hungry, eat food. Number 11, regulate interruptions. So what this person is saying, I think, is that you should schedule yourself uninterrupted work time. Which, if that's what they're trying to say, then that is good advice. But they're saying something like shoo people away from your cubicle. I mean, close your door if it's too loud. Yeah. And this is the best one ever. Enlist a productivity partner. So enlisting a productivity partner, this person is saying that she commits her clients to plan their day for 15 minutes every day and then email her once they're finished. Like, the thought of having to email someone my daily plan for 3 weeks is a horrifying thought, honestly. I don't know, maybe this works with her clients, but I can't. How is this a productivity tip? I'm baffled at the poor quality of this. And by the way, I have to say, I actually went through all of these links here. Self.com, Attitude Magazine again. I think there's one or two here that are okay. Oh, by the way, you'll see healthline.com here. Healthline.com, I looked this up. Healthline.com owns psychcentral.com. These aren't journals. These are just blogs with a ton of ads that hire a couple of PhDs to like LARP that they're on their scientific advisory board and not read anything that they post. This is garbage. So basically what I'm trying to say here is some of the things that are on here are actually good advice, but you're not going to find them because they're buried in between mountains of garbage. So shame on you, Psych Central, for writing one of the worst articles I've ever read in my life. And I was going to actually review a bunch of these and it got way too long because I was just constantly restating how bad each article was. Let's just go to one more. Just one more. Okay, look at this. Attitude Magazine. When I first got diagnosed with ADHD, I thought this website was legit. I looked at all the articles. I didn't get any information from them because you'll see in a second how they write. And they promote that they're this like authority figure on ADHD and they don't know anything. Look at this awful article. So first of all, their first tip for ADHD is that there's a list of tips for ADHD, which is like clearly their website's just broken or something. So number 1 is to be realistic about how long things take. Number 2 is don't be perfect. Perfectionism means you won't be productive. Set the stage. Prepare your environment. Number 5, before you start your task, go on a fun scavenger hunt to find all your materials so that when you start working, you don't get distracted by the need to go get your materials. I don't know, is this supposed to be like unironically good advice? It's so stupid. Fun stuff first. So do your favorite task first and then you'll have a dopamine rush. Okay, what happens when the dopamine rush ends, you idiot? Between tasks, set a timer for 10 minutes and do some yoga. Here's the take baby steps advice again. When you have big projects, break them down into smaller pieces. Do a brain dump. Honestly, doing a brain dump is good, but I don't know how this is ADHD specific advice. So another stupid thing, make deadlines visible. Basically, use a calendar with notifications. Number 11, this is the worst thing I've ever read on any of these articles, and I've read all of them, okay? Deepest recesses of the mind don't process the word no. Therefore, when we say, I will not waste time on the computer today, the words are read as, I will waste time on the computer today. Magically in your brain, if you don't want to waste time on your computer today, if you say that in your brain, actually what's happening is it's magically changing the intention and tricking you into actually wasting time because it changes the word. Look, will not turns into will. This is like on this website that is supposed to be tips for people with ADHD. Okay? Look, all of these articles here, they're not written because they want to be good advice. They're written because they want to rank highly on Google. And if you go here and you turn off your ad blocker, these are why they write these articles. It's not because they want to put good advice out into the world. It's because they want people to click on ads. And listen, that's fine. Okay, if you have a website and you want to make ads, you want to make money off of ads, I mean, that's fine. But don't you feel a little bad, Psych Central, that you have one of the worst articles of all time that people who are struggling with ADHD are going to find and take as advice? Don't you feel a little bad about that? Like, this is the worst article I've ever read, aside from the Attitude Magazine one. That's it. That's the video. If you're someone who has ADHD, you just got diagnosed, or maybe you don't know if you have it, you're trying to Google around to figure out some advice, and you come across this stuff, yeah, it's garbage. It's bad. You're not the only one who thinks that. So I don't know if this video helped. it just kind of made me more angry. So that's it. Have a good day and stay off of Psych Central, I guess.